Now on CoastTV News.
Board ballots counted. 3 school districts in Sussex County had contested races. We break down the results and have reaction from some of Tuesday's winners.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News Midday. We're going to start out and take a live look outside into Rehoboth Beach, and our first alert meteorologist Bob Trihey joins us for a look at our forecast. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Brandon. And yeah, you can see on that camera, pretty dreary out there. Lots of low clouds, maybe even some fog. We had a lot of heavy rain this morning. Here's a 12-hour radar loop. The real heavy rain came through between about 2 and 4 a.m. And then much of the morning has just been kind of cloudy and drizzly. And that's what we have now across Sussex County on the visible satellite picture. But as you look farther to the south and west, we are seeing some breaks near Elliott, back through Cambridge, and back into areas of eastern Virginia. So we'll have to see if this clearing area moves up as a warm front is lifting our way, and to the south of that warm front, it is warm and muggy air as low pressure is turning to our south and west, keeping our unsettled pattern going. We're seeing temperatures now in the 60s, even 70 in Salisbury, with lower 60s at the beaches. Winds were really strong earlier, but now they're beginning to back off, but they're still coming in off the ocean, so you're going to be cooler in the 60s today. This model pretty optimistic about warming us into the 70s to near 80 with sunshine this afternoon. It's possible, but the clouds could be hanging tough too, and I think still a chance for a few showers and storms as we go into the evening hours, as we're optimistic for some sunshine this afternoon, but still a little unsettled heading into the weekend. Much more on that in my full forecast coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. Our top story this morning, we're getting unofficial results from Tuesday's Delaware School Board elections. For Cape Henlopen's District C, it was Patty Mull with the most votes. It was a 3-person race between Mull, Laura Parsons, and Andy Lewis. Mull received about 2,000 votes, followed by Parsons with about 1,500 and Lewis with just over 500. Mull says she's planning to focus big on mental health.
My biggest goal is to make sure that our students have advocates, someone that's there for them, especially with our staff too. I really want to make sure we put in a focus on mental health in our district. A lot of our kids are struggling, and we'll make sure we focus on that and make sure that the teachers have resources so that they can help our students.
Her term will run through June 2028. The District B seat was uncontested, with incumbent Jason Bradley automatically re-elected. And it appears incumbent Bill Collick will keep his seat at large. Collick has worked in education for nearly 5 decades. He has served as the at-large board member in Cape since 2020. The unofficial results show Collick defeating Chris Lovingunth by more than 2,000 votes. There was one contested race in Woodbridge. Let's take a look at those results from Tuesday. This for the district's at-large seat. Timothy Banks defeated Latoya Harris. Banks received over 77% of the vote. And we do want to make a correction about the results in the Indian River School District. Earlier, we reported that Lisa Hudson Briggs won the District 1 race. While she was re-elected to the school board, we failed to report that incumbent Kelly Klein was also re-elected to represent District 1. We regret this omission. District 1 was the only contested race. It is an area that includes Georgetown. For District 2, Jerry Peden Jr. ran unopposed, and Michelle Parsons was also unopposed in District 4. Parking enforcement is returning in Salisbury starting now through June 1st. The city will issue warnings, not tickets, for violations in city-owned lots, streets, and facilities. This grace period is meant to educate drivers about rules like permit requirements and time limits. But beginning on June 2nd, full enforcement and citations will resume. Locals and businesses are being asked to update permit and vehicle info by then. U.S. Wind is proposing a $20 million investment to support commercial fishing in Maryland and Delaware. The plan includes grants for fishing businesses, harbor maintenance, funding, and compensation for fishermen impacted by offshore wind projects. $13.5 million will go towards Maryland's Fishing Community Resilience Fund, and Delaware will receive support for research and gear development. U.S. Wind also plans to build a maintenance facility in West Ocean City. This morning, Delaware State Police released an update on a now deadly crash that took place on May 3rd. DSP says the 35-year-old man who was in this motorcycle crash was pronounced dead on May 12th. On your screen now is where troopers say the man went off the side of the road in his motorcycle, hitting a mailbox on Central Avenue South. He was then taken to an area hospital with life-threatening injuries before dying just 2 days ago. The 35-year-old Ocean View man's name is being withheld by troopers until his family is notified. A federal jury in Delaware has convicted a 68-year-old man, Clifton Gibbs of Lewis, on multiple counts of sex trafficking and forced labor. Prosecutors say Gibbs preyed on heroin addict victims, forcing them into prostitution, theft, and manual labor in exchange for drugs. He now faces at least 15 years to life in prison. His co-defendant, Brooke Waters, has already pleaded guilty. A sentencing date has not been set yet. Today, President Trump continues his Middle East trip. Democrats back home are reacting to Qatar's gift of a luxury jumbo jet. In fact, Trump is visiting Qatar today. As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, the president is touting deals in Saudi Arabia and ending sanctions in Syria.
President Trump meeting with leaders from the Gulf Cooperation Council in Saudi Arabia this morning as he works to strengthen business ties with the region's wealthy states. On Tuesday, announcing the Saudis are set to buy $142 billion worth of American military equipment, part of a promised $600 billion investment in the U.S.
We've launched the golden age of America. The golden age of the Middle East can proceed right alongside of us.
President Trump pushing Iran to abandon its nuclear program while ending sanctions against Syria's new government.
In order to give them a chance at greatness.
At the urging of Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince.
Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince.
Hanging over the trip, major real estate projects the Trump organization led by the president's sons is developing in the countries he's visiting, including Qatar, where he's headed next, with controversy brewing over the Qatari government's not yet finalized offer of a luxury jet gifted to the Pentagon to serve as Air Force One, then transferred to the Trump Presidential Library at the end of his term.
I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department, and I would say only a stupid person would say that.
A growing number of Republicans raising concerns about accepting a $400 million foreign gift and the costly upgrades needed for national security.
There are lots of issues around that I think will attract very serious questions if and when it happens.
The Senate's top Democrat vowing to put a hold on all judicial nominees until the Attorney General testifies about the gift's legal questions. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Coming up after the break, making a case to raise pay rates. Why the Milford police chief says certain positions deserve a higher salary. Happening today in Milford, officials making a case to raise pay rates. According to the agenda, the Public Safety Committee will discuss a pay increase for police captain and 3 lieutenants. This comes after Police Chief Cecilia Ash says a study on staffing and pay scale revealed the job descriptions of these positions were outdated. Chief Ash says the new job descriptions reflect accurate responsibilities and thus a pay increase should be considered. Also happening today in Dewey Beach, food trucks could be served up some new rules. The Planning and Zoning Commission has scheduled a public hearing to discuss and possibly vote on regulations for these businesses. Any changes will have to go before Town Council for a final approval, and the meeting will take place at 5 p.m.
The steady rain has moved to our north, but we're seeing dreary conditions on the tunnel and razor cam. Limited visibility over Delaware Bay, kind of dreary, and temperatures only in the 60s. If we do see some sun, then well into the 70s, but we're not done with the unsettled weather yet. That continues really for the rest of the week into a part of the weekend. More on that coming up. Congratulations to Dennis Jones from Milton. He has a brand new umbrella from CoastTV and Paul Davis. Your full forecast is coming up after the break. So far, it's been a pretty dreary Wednesday. We had all that heavy rain this morning. Then we got a break during the course of the daylight hours, just kind of cloudy and foggy. And that's what we have on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Cam. 67 in Laurel right now, kind of foggy, maybe a little misty. If we get into some sunshine this afternoon, we'll warm it to the mid to upper 70s. If it stays on the cloudy side, more like 60s and 70s. And a good soaking this morning. Stockley, 1.23 inches of rain. A lot of that fell in about a 2 hours time. 8500s in Dagsboro, Lewis 7600s with Georgetown and Bethany Beach both at 7300s. Indian River Inlet around 5500s of an inch of rain. And there's more on the way. We're looking at widely scattered showers, I think, as we go through this evening. Maybe a few rumbles of thunder. The same for Thursday as well. A little bit of an uptick on Friday with scattered showers there. And even heading into Saturday, isolated to scattered showers and storms possible later in the day. Then I think we do start to dry out Sunday into Monday. Visible satellite picture showing all that rain that moved through the overnight hours is now long gone. Now we're just looking at cloudy, kind of foggy conditions across Sussex County, and the same for the eastern shore back into Salisbury. But look at the black color that's increasing. I think that's the clouds thinning out farther south on Delmarva towards the Chesapeake Bay and eastern parts of Virginia. So we'll have to see if the sunshine works in. If it does, we'll warm up into the 70s. If not, then I think we'll stay in the 60s, as there is a warm front starting to press to the north, and we have the showers along and north of that front from Virginia back up into New Jersey and the tri-state area. One area of low pressure over western North Carolina, another one over Illinois, kind of joining forces and bringing all that moisture around these lows and right up the east coast. Right now we're looking at temperatures in the 60s, except 70 in Salisbury and Willard, 66 in Dagsboro, Lewis at 62. We had strong winds earlier on. Now they're just light out of the east, and even 4 miles in some fog in Ocean City. Other places, pretty good visibility. So I think we will break up the clouds a little bit into the afternoon, and as we do, maybe some lower 80s from Seaford to Salisbury, but cooler 60s and 70s farther to the east. Still a chance of a few showers as we go into the evening hours, and maybe a gusty thunderstorm as well. Some scattered showers overnight. Otherwise, Thursday morning kind of cloudy, but then I think we'll see some breaks in the clouds in the afternoon. 70s to around 80 in Salisbury and Delmar, but 60s closer to the coast. Still that ever-present chance of a shower or a thunderstorm as we go into Thursday. And we keep it unsettled into Friday as well. Still that chance of mainly afternoon and evening showers and storms. And on Saturday, we've got Preakness and Baltimore. Could be a little wet there. Some storms possible across Delmarva. Then we finally start to dry things out Sunday into Monday with a low chance of severe weather today. Maybe gusty winds with some of these storms a little bit later on. And on top of the rain we've already seen, we could tack on another third of an inch to maybe about 6/10 of an inch of rain. So if we get into the sunshine, close to 80 in Seaford and Laurel, we're into the upper 70s for the eastern shore, and farther south, Salisbury around 80 with 68 in Chincoteague and a cooler 68 in Ocean City. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, hit and miss showers and storms for the rest of the weekend to the weekend, warming to 80 Thursday and then muggy middle 80s Friday and Saturday. Definitely a summer feel, and then drying out Sunday and a little cooler and drier into early next week.
Thank you, Bob. And coming up tonight on DSN at 5, Game 1 of a Shorebirds doubleheader. The Birds face the Fredericksburg Nationals. Then at 8 p.m., it's Game 2. And at 10:30, it's the final score. And for your DSN exclusives, at 4:15, Delaware High School softball on Delmarva Christian visits Delmar. And at 7, Archmere Academy takes on Cesar Rodney in boys lacrosse. Coast TV News continues after the break. Today in the Delaware House of Representatives, the Transportation Committee is scheduled to debate 2 bills that were approved in the Senate. Parker Selby is assigned to that committee. Prior to the start of this legislative session in January, Parker Selby made it known she had what she described as a medical event. Her district covers parts of Lewis, Milton, and Harbison. Coming up, Submarine Surrender Remembrance. We'll tell you how Delaware's coast played a part in bringing forth the end of World War II. May 14th is a significant date in the history along the coast. 80 years ago, a Nazi Germany submarine surrendered to Allied forces near Lewis. U-boat 85-8 was one of 6 German subs sent to attack the North American coast in the closing months of World War II in Europe. 4 were sunk in the early stages of that mission. Another sunk near Rhode Island. 858 first surrendered off the Canadian coast on May 10th. The fate of the submariners played a big role in the decision to order the sub south of the Lewis for a surrender in American waters. And later tonight, our special story, Surrender at Sea, looks how Delaware played a role in the final days of World War II. You can catch that during Coast TV News at 6.
The dreary weather continues across Delmarva. You can see that on the gutter helmet cam. Kind of low visibility and haze and fog. Temperatures in the 60s, maybe some 70s inland if we get some peaks of sun later today. But the unsettled weather continues really the rest of the week and part of the weekend, becoming quite warm and muggy as well. Call the Coast TV First Alert Weather Phone, another way to get your forecast, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. I'll have your 10-day forecast coming up after the break. Today is one of those days to maybe crack a book, pop a movie in, or do some house chores because it's cloudy, but maybe some peaks of sun as we go into the afternoon. If we see the sun, mid to upper 70s inland areas, if not, probably staying in the 60s and low 70s. And there is that chance of a scattered shower as we go into this evening hour or maybe a gusty thunderstorm. Paul Davis 10-day forecast up to 80 on Thursday. More showers and storms. In fact, that continues through Friday into Saturday, where it gets into the mid to upper 80s Friday and Saturday with that summer feel. Drying out Sunday, 81, and right now next week looks pretty dry with highs in the mid to upper 70s and lows into the 50s.
Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Midday. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to join us later this afternoon for Coast TV News at 5. Have a great day.